But we start the program with what we like to do. So I mentioned this yesterday. I will put my show up against anybody when it comes to breaking news. Because, Sam, I think we need a breaking news sounder.
Ooh, we definitely do. 100%.
Breaking news. I don't know if you have breaking news. No?
Maybe not that one.
You're saying no to that?
Yeah, it's a little dramatic.
I don't know. It's a breaking news. So let's bring this. The newly minted Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is already out there getting it done. This is from Politico, so take it for what it's worth. Written by Robbie Gramer, Nahal Tuzi, and Eric Brazil Aimil. I don't know. I have no idea. But you needed 3 people to write it. This is today, just a few minutes ago. Actually, a few hours ago, I should say. Secretary of State Marco Rubio halted spending today on most existing foreign aid grants for 90 days. The order which shocked State Department officials. I'm sorry. He is the boss of the State Department. It doesn't matter if they were shocked. If they were shocked, then they're not on his team. And he should. What Marco Rubio should do is seek out and find out who was shocked, and then fire that ass. Sam?
Yes, please. And can we do it like in that very Trump style? You're fired.
You fired. I mean, have Trump do it with him.
Yes,
you fired.
please.
You just do it. All right. So there were the staff there. They were stunned. They were very surprised. The order, which shocked State Department officials, appears to apply to funding for military assistance to Ukraine. Rubio's guidance issued to all diplomatic and consular posts requires the department staffers to issue stop work orders on nearly all existing foreign assistance awards, according to the document, which was obtained by Politico. It is effective immediately. It appears to go further than President Donald Trump's recent executive order, which instructed the department to pause foreign aid grants for 90 days, pending review by the secretary. It had not been clear from the president's order if it would affect already appropriated funds for Ukraine aid. The new guidance means no further actions will be taken to disperse aid funding to programs already approved by the U.S. government, according to 3 current and 2 former officials familiar with the new guidance. Say they're familiar with it.
The sources are familiar. I love that.
Familiar sources. So familiar that your camera froze. So
great.
Stop it and start it again. So there you go. And again, now this comes on the heels of Zelensky just saying recently that he, in fact, is down to sit down and talk about peace. How do you end the war that's going on right now? So all of this can be coming together very, very easily. But of course, State Department officials were stunned. Doesn't matter. Does not matter if you were stunned. The order shocked some department officials for its sweeping mandate. Quote, state just totally went nuclear on foreign assistance, said another State Department official. Name not known. Not known. We're just making it up now. Some State Department official said that. Still, the document leaves room for interpretation. Does provide some exceptions. It specifies the foreign military financing for Egypt and Israel will continue and allows emergency food assistance to legitimate expenses incurred prior to the date of this guidance under existing awards. At points, it also says the decisions need to be consistent with the terms of the relevant award. One current almost said state apartment, Sam. Almost said that. That would have been good. They should, if you're going to be stunned by this, I think it is a state apartment. I'll be honest with you. Why not? Goodness, right, Polo?
Absolutely. I guess you haven't seen my message. So
I have not, but I'll take a look at it. But I mean, if you're going to mess up the word department, might as well be department. It might as well. If you're going to have fun with it on a Friday, it's a Department Friday. Right now, there are new stations picking up the show going, what did we do? What did we do here? How did this happen? Who was thinking this one? Let me finish the story by saying the guidance states that decisions whether to continue, modify, or terminate programs will be made following the review from the Secretary. State Department spokesperson did not immediately respond for requests for comment. The omission of Ukraine is particularly troubling to American officials who want to help it defeat Russia. Man, what a slanted story that was. What an absolutely slanted story that was. My goodness. Now, Cheryl over in the chat says, play an old-time ticker tape sounder to do breaking news, like breaking news. I don't know. I think we need a sounder. Sam, hit Fiverr. Let's see if we can get a breaking news something.
Great idea.
Are you okay?
No.
Why not?
Department,
Yeah,
really?
I'm sick. Your dad is ill today.
It is a Free Speech Friday after all, isn't it?
It's a free fart Friday. Exactly right. It's exactly what it is. It is, again, if you're new to the program, this is what we do. 833-JOE-PAGS. 833-563-7247 or joepags.com. I've got to go and see what Polo sent me because Polo's going to be right in the middle of this. I know he is because this is what he does. How about breaking wind sound for the breaking news? See, exactly right. So you say that, and then, of course, I mess up and say defartment. I blame you.
I mean, that could be considered free speech, no? I mean,
it's definitely free.
Doesn't matter where it's coming from. I mean,
no, it's freeing without a doubt. Yes. Again, to the story, which is, I love how they say nobody at the State Department would comment on the story, but they just had 4 anonymous sources from the State Department. Then they had current and former sources from the State Department, but again, nobody would comment officially. And then they go on and on about how they're stunned and how the Americans want to send more money to Ukraine to help it beat Russia. No, Americans want the war to stop. Americans want the dying to stop. Americans want the killing to stop. Americans want to stop sending our tax dollars to some foreign land most can't find on a map. Americans don't want to prop up Ukrainian businesses. Americans don't want to send our dollars over to pay pensions in the Ukrainian government. We never signed on for that, ever. So the idea that Americans want this is just a lie. It doesn't make sense. It's actually just not true. So you're an American listening to my program, probably. You might be Canadian, you might be something else. But you're probably an American listening to my program. Are you cool with us stopping all foreign aid, including aid to Ukraine? I am. I don't know why we pay these countries so much money. Nonstop. And we get nothing out of it. What do we get for it? There's no benefit to you and to me, for you and me to work, get our money, less the taxes they keep, and then watch the tax dollars go somewhere that we have no say. Doesn't make sense, and I'm done with it. This is a smart move by Marco Rubio and Donald Trump early on. This will make countries get in line. You want the money? You got to do this. You want the money? You got to benefit us this way. Makes perfect sense. 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, or joepags.com. Definitely want to hear from you. Scroll down and click on Contact. You missed any part of the programs, you can also go and find us on the podcast, Joe Space Pags. Click on the one with the logo. You'll find the podcast, which is doing very well. All right, great to have you. Thanks. I appreciate you on a Free Speech Friday. It's 833-563-7247. 833-JOE-PAGS, or go to joepags.com. Scroll down, click on Contact. Go and see that video. A reporter questions Trump, and I will play it for you on the radio show. Don't worry. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have it for you here, too. You want to go see the video, though, because his answer is pretty good. A reporter asks him about taking away the security detail from Fauci. Then the reporter asks one of those gotcha questions, and Trump answers it perfectly. So go to TikTok, it's Joe Pags, JOEPAGS. Go to Instagram, it's Joe Talk Show. Go to YouTube, it's Joe Talk Show as well. That video is up on all 3 platforms right now. After we do the bottom of the hour break, which is coming up in a little while, and I want your phone calls on foreign aid being cut off right now, which makes perfect sense to me, or your Free Speech Friday calls at 833-JOE-PAGS. After the bottom, I will bring you some audio and some video if you happen to be watching. President Trump today, he and Melania Trump, the First Lady, went to North Carolina. They went to California. They went to go assess what's going on, and they said help is on the way. And the one thing that no matter which side you're on, if you're an honest person, you will tell the truth that President Trump so far just since Monday, in 4 days, the guy has made such a sea change difference. Seriously, in access, in transparency, in answering questions from reporters, whereas Biden never did. Like they go, President Biden, blah, 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 and you go, watch me. What? Or President Biden, what flavor ice cream? What? What flavor ice cream? Vanilla. Hey, this was great vanilla. Woo. President Biden, what about what's going on in Afghanistan? Just ignored him. Thank you, everybody out. Bop-a-doop-doop. I mean, suddenly, it's a return to normalcy. Suddenly, we've got a guy who's willing to stand there, toe-to-toe, take your questions, call you out when you do it wrong, and then take the next question. By the way, super proud to say that Carl Higbee and Rob Schmidt over on Newsmax beat CNN this week. And Carl sent that to me this morning. I love appearing on his show. He somehow gave me a little bit of credit that I was a part of that. And I said, no, I'm not. You did this, Carl. But it's really, really cool that people are getting real news now. And a place like Newsmax will not, give Trump some gotcha question. Look, Trump has told me I don't mind hard questions as long as they're fair. And it's been great since he's been in office again to say, listen, I'll answer your questions. Don't be disrespectful. Don't interrupt me. He's been very, very good so far. Let me go to Mike, who's in Florida. Mike, what do you think about all this foreign aid being cut off?
I think it's a great thing, and I think that they need to go past these pardons, just like with any financial crimes, claw back all of those ill-gotten gains and any assets that were gained by those funds that they basically worked like a bookie, taking a percentage of every bit going with this Biden crime family and all of their cronies that are associated with it.
Well, without a doubt, I mean, you got somebody like, hold on, you got a guy like Comer who I had on the other day, and I want you to continue in a second, Mike. Sorry, a little bit of a delay. A guy like Comer came on to say $27 million has changed hands, and we know the only thing they had for sale was influence and his ability as the vice president and then the president. So I think what you say is verifiably true.
Yeah, and probably haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg yet.
Yeah.
The other thing is, so far as Fauci, he doesn't need a security detail. Just give him a mask. Mask will protect you from everything, remember?
All right, Mike. Sounds good, Mike. Yeah, listen, I'll be honest with you. I kind of liked Fauci better when he wore the mask. Is that mean? I don't think that's mean. Is that mean? I don't know if that's mean. Maybe. Could be. 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-563-7247, or joepags.com. Make sure you go there as well. Scott is in Boston. Scott, talk to me.
Okay, Joe, I just want to describe Boston for you in 3 words regarding all the illegal immigrants in the last couple of hours, the last 2 days that were rounded up, well over 1,000 here in Boston. Boston is a target-rich environment. And also...
Target-rich environment. Okay, those are the 3 words. Go ahead.
And I made kind of a parody. I was sitting at work today writing What Would Joe Do? And I'm going to give this to you. This is all for you, but it's a parody.
Okay.
And I love these target-rich waters. Oh, Boston, you're my home. Gang-banging Haitians led into the state by Maura Healey. All that's for you, Joe. Take it and make a good parody, okay?
Scott, get it. Sam, do you know what song that was based on? I have no idea what...
No, I don't. I really don't.
Dude. Scott, we love you like a brother. We love that you called. He called in and he had the guts to do it, so I'll give him credit for that. But yeah, okay, I'm going to run with that. Let me say something about Massachusetts and about Boston specifically. There are people being arrested by ICE in Boston. People who are being called collateral. Now, I might need to wait until after the bottom of the hour to give you exactly what that means. But, okay, people are saying that it was based on Dirty Water. Do I know the song Dirty Water? I may not even know that song. Scott, you're the best. I will look it up. If there's something there, I'll go with it. But in Boston, they said, it's a sanctuary city. So the mayor, the governor of Massachusetts, they have said we're not going to assist ICE. So ICE has a list of the people they want. They know who they're seeking out. Like that Haitian guy from yesterday who said, F Trump, long live Biden, thank you, Obama, for what you've done for us. Here's a guy ICE says has been 17 times convicted of crimes in this country who is supposed to be out of here a long time ago. He said he's not going back to Haiti. Tom Homan said, yes, you are. So they go in to get that guy. And when they get that guy, they also find out there's somebody else in there who's an illegal alien who's got some outstanding charges as well. He goes too. And ICE wasn't looking for him. He's called collateral. Why did that happen? Because it's a sanctuary city. All Boston has to do, Michelle Wu, I'm talking to you, and all Healy has to do, your governor, is say, ICE, we will play ball with you. Go in and get the people that you want. You ask for a detainer. We're going to apply. We're going to abide by that. Leave everybody else alone. Literally, the sanctuary policies in Boston, Massachusetts, and in Massachusetts as a whole, because of your radically left government, those policies are causing more people to be arrested than ICE was even looking for. That's how stupid. That's how stupid the management and the leadership, the so-called leadership of that state is. I want you to understand, this isn't Holman doing it. It's not Trump doing it. It's because of their policies it's getting done. 833-JOE-PAGS, joepags.com. Stay here.
This is the Joe Pags Show.
President Trump today went out there on the road. He went on the road and he decided, let me go to North Carolina. Remember when North Carolina happened? It was months and months and months ago. 2 hurricanes, back to back. Helene, I think, was the most violent one. And it left entire cities just in shambles. Towns just off the map. Buildings that have been there for a long time, gone. People don't have homes. People don't have places to stay. And Kamala Harris showed up and announced that $750 in immediate emergency help will be issued out to people who apply. Turns out if you applied, they could say, well, we'll give you $300 instead of $750. Turns out, well, if you applied, we're not going to give you anything because of your standing in your bank or whatever. At the end of the day, they did not get the help they deserved. Mayorkas, who was running the DHS at the time, DHS runs FEMA, said, we don't have the funds. He said this on Air Force either 1 or 2. He said it en route, either to or back from North Carolina. We don't have the funds. We don't have them. And we went, what? And we knew that over $1.4 billion had been spent on those coming here illegally across the southern border. So that money was gone that could have been used, of course, in North Carolina and Tennessee and Georgia and other places affected by these hurricanes. These people, like in East Palestine for a year and a half, had been ignored by the previous administration. 4 days in, 3.5 days in, Trump jumps on a plane with Melania Trump, and they go there. They go there to assess what's going on in North Carolina. And the president told them, we are here to help, and we are going to help.
I'm pleased to announce that under our leadership, the federal government will be surging housing solutions to the state that go beyond mere temporary hotel stays that ended up being very short term. The government wouldn't do it any longer, which is ridiculous. We'll marshal all available resources to bring back potable water and make your water and infrastructure dramatically more reliable very quickly. Today, I'll also be signing an executive order slashing all red tape and bureaucratic barriers and permits to ensure the rapid reconstruction of the roads here in western North Carolina. We're going to go through a permitting process that's called no permitting, just get it done. That's the way they built them many years ago, I guarantee you that, right?
I mean, that's the way you do it. You show up, and it's time you got the help and support that you deserve for your tax dollars. You show up and say, sorry, the other guy ignored you. We're not going to ignore you. You show up and you say, we're going to start rebuilding now. And the fact that you've got this guy who is a developer and a builder who is there telling you that, you can believe him. He didn't have to go. He could have stayed in the White House like Biden did. He got on the plane and he went. And then he went to California. Now, this is what you do. Doesn't matter if you're red or blue. Doesn't matter if you voted Trump or Biden or Harris. Doesn't matter. What matters is you've got a guy who knows people are in dire straits. Now, while he was there were some residents talking about how the insurance companies have abandoned them. It's a rough time, and it's very rough shape, especially for Western North Carolina. They need the help and the assistance that we thought we would get from organizations like FEMA that we fund. FEMA that is spending a bunch of money on those coming here illegally. That has to stop. We can send $200 billion plus to Ukraine, but we can't help out Western North Carolina for months and months? Come on, man. What are we talking about? Then there's this.
I'll also be signing an executive order to begin the process of fundamentally reforming and overhauling FEMA, or maybe getting rid of FEMA. I think, frankly, FEMA is not good. I think when you have a problem like this, I think you want to go and, whether it's a Democrat or Republican governor, you want to use your state to fix it and not waste time calling FEMA, and then FEMA gets here and they don't know the area, they've never been to the area, and They want to give you rules that you've never heard about. They want to bring people that aren't as good as the people you already have. And FEMA's turned out to be a disaster. And you could go back a long way. You could go back to Louisiana. You could go back to some of the things that took place in Texas. It turns out to be the state that ends up doing the work. It just complicates it. I think we're going to recommend that FEMA go away. And we pay directly. We pay a percentage to the state. But the state should fix this. If the state did this from the beginning, it would have been a lot better situation. I think you guys agree with that, right?
What's wrong with that idea? Why do we need a federal emergency management agency that doesn't? That can say, we don't have the money. Honestly, why would you need a federal agency when North Carolina going to take care of North Carolina better than anybody else could? Every individual state cares more about its own state, and something he said there was not something you should blow off. They know the areas better. They know the towns better. They know the topography and the geography better than the federal government would. So if we have this money that we're using for so-called FEMA, you could probably cut down on the bureaucracy and not have as much money to go to something called FEMA, and then have the federal government send our tax dollars back to our states when we need it and tell the states you do it. But instead, FEMA shows up and screws it up. And the individual people who work for FEMA, I'm not talking about you. It's horrible mismanagement. It's horrible overmanagement. It is. And we need to take out the middleman. We talked about this yesterday with the one caller who said he leans left, but he's an independent. Turns out I think he leans right. And he talked about entitlements and helping people who are in need. I agree in helping people who are in need. I don't agree that anybody's entitled to anything. But I agree that when people are in need, you help them. Give them a bridge. Give them some sort of an in-between so you can get from point A to point B. I get that. But the last thing we need to do, and really think about this, Western North Carolina has an emergency. So to help them with the emergency, and they haven't got much help in months, you have to take money from you and me, the American public, send it to Washington, D.C., where some thick bureaucracy filled with red tape will get the money, siphon off as much as it needs to run the department that shouldn't exist, and then maybe, if you're lucky, send some of that money, whatever is remaining, to the area that's in need. What would make more sense? Because it's not even that. It's taking the money from us, sending to this bureaucracy in Washington. They spend all the money they want. They call something FEMA or the Department of Energy or the Department of Education. Then they say, now, if you do what we say, we'll give you some of the money that you need. Or if you voted the right way, we'll give you the money that you need. It should be, all right, taxpayers, here's the fund for emergencies. There is no agency that's going to deal with the funds. You tell us that you need it, and then we'll send it to you. And who asks for it? The leadership of the state. Now, they can't say I need it to build a bridge. They can't say I need it to build a school. They can't say I need it to start some program that's filled with DEI. No, they can say, holy mackerel, we just had 2 hurricanes. We need some money. And FEMA goes, boom. Don't even call it FEMA. Whatever this account is, says, boom, here's the money. What else you need? Or California says, man, we really need this money. Boom, what else you need? Why do we need to build buildings, hire people, have a bureaucracy to siphon off a large chunk of the money, and then maybe if you're lucky, send some money back to where the emergency is happening so that an idiot like Mayorkas can say we don't have the funds? Which, by the way, is not hyperbole. That's what he said. He said the words, we don't have the funds. Because one hurricane hit, then the second one was on the way. He said, we don't have the funds. Then we all said, you did, and I did, we together, because we do the show together every day, 3 hours, right, audience? We said, what are you talking about? You sent $200 billion to Ukraine. What are you talking about? You spent $1.4 billion on illegal aliens. What are you talking about? You don't have the money. You better find the damn money, because I know you took it from me. That's for sure. So I don't know what they're talking about when they say they have no money, but I do know this. If they have the ability to get their grubby hands on the money before the emergency needs are covered, they will waste it. They will spend it. Let me give you a prime example. on your paycheck. You've got all sorts of stuff being deducted. And allegedly, when we retire, there's going to be something called Social Security and something called Medicare. We're paying for health care when we get older. We're paying for money to keep us going when we get older. And we're sending in that money. Now, one would think if I send that money to the federal government, I'm going to start making some interest on that money, and it can't be touched. Well, that's bogus because they spent it. As we send it, they are spending it. It is not in a lockbox, as Al Gore would say. It is not untouchable. It's almost gone. So why did that happen? Because instead of us investing it in something safe, away from the government got their grubby hands on it, made some Social Security administration, made some Medicare administration. They're all getting paid big bucks off of our dime, and it might not be available when we retire. Is that okay? So when Trump says FEMA should go away, what's the argument against that? I want to hear from you. 833-563-7247. 833-JOE-PAGS. 833-JOE-PAGS. Or go to joepags.com, scroll down, click on contact. While you're there, go check Trump's answer when a reporter asks him about taking away the security detail from Tony Fauci. Go and check that out. It's over on TikTok, Joe Pags. Click on the TikTok link at the top. Click on that YouTube link on the top. It's not on X yet, but it will be soon. It's also on Instagram. So it's Joe Talk Show on the big ones, except for TikTok. TikTok is Joe Pags. Go check that out right now. I want to hear from you. Is there an argument that FEMA should not go away? That FEMA somehow is benefiting us better than if we just had the money being sent directly to the states that were in need and let them handle it? I appreciate you hanging out. Thanks a lot for being here. It's a Free Speech Friday, the Joe Pags Show. Thanks a lot for stopping by. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to get to. Time for a call or two. We've got 833-JOE-PAGS, 833-JOE-PAGS. That is 563-7247. Or go to joepags.com, joepags.com. Scroll down. Click on contact. Want to hear from you big time. We go to Al in Massachusetts. Al, what's going on? Hi.
Hey, Joe, I'm on with you, brother.
You are? What's happening?
I just want to say, I'm very happy to be on your show, and I just hope, I'm not really a right or left guy, but I think you do a great job getting the truth out there. And I think the problem with a lot of the people in our, and I wish for the best for our country, but the problem with the people is they seek the news they want. They don't seek the news that they want to necessarily, they don't want to hear sometimes. Right. And that's what I hear from your show. And I really like it, and it's entertaining, but you really get the facts out there. And I just want to give Free Speech Friday, just give you a little shout out to give you some encouragement, because I think you do a great job. Like I said, I'm not a right or left guy, and I'm stuck in Massachusetts where the politics, I'm sure you've heard all about it. And the majority of the people are like that. It's not a joke. And the ones that aren't, there probably is a silent minority or whatever, but you don't hear much from them, you know. You won't hear much.
Well, we're hearing from more people who are like you, independent. You might lean a little bit here, lean a little bit there, but they're sick and tired of just being railed by the government in Massachusetts. Al, very, very high praise. Thank you so much for the compliment, my man. Makes me feel great. I can tell you this. I love everybody who listens. Girl, love. I think I'm most surprised by the people in Massachusetts that call in. Sam, are you with me on this?
Yeah, I actually am.
The people who call in from Boston and other parts of Massachusetts, I thought they'd hate the show. I thought they would hate what we lay down. And I got to tell you, consistently, every single day, we're getting people from that area of the world who are saying, we just needed somebody who would listen. No, we're not hard left or hard right, but we are people who are open-minded. We want to hear the real news. And unfortunately, you're being, force-fed the fake news a lot. And I appreciate you appreciating what we do. Thank you. Let me go to Keith, who's in Florida. Keith, what's going on? Hi.
Can you hear me, Joe?
Yeah, what's happening, Keith?
I just wanted to say that I've been listening to your show, and in 2004, I was living on the west coast of Florida.
Yeah.
And Hurricane Charlie came through. We had minimal damage. My in-laws lived on the Atlantic side of Florida.
Yeah.
And FEMA came through on their side. They had much more damage than we did. And FEMA came through and drove through their neighborhood, asked them what they needed. They got a generator and a chainsaw. That's exactly what they asked for. And FEMA was there responding the way they should have.
Cool. Is that it?
They were on the ground,
Yeah.
actually giving the people supplies to what they needed to do.
Well, I'll say this, and this really does matter to me. And Keith, maybe you agree or disagree, and I'd like to hear a comment. But in 2004, George W. Bush was the president. When you've got somebody in there who's more of a globalist, more of a I don't care about places that didn't vote for me, like by the Biden administration, they didn't do that. So FEMA maybe should do that. That's the goal, is to go there and give exactly what you need. But it depends on what party is in charge, how they're going to act. That's not okay with me. That's why I think it should go back to the states. Go ahead.
Absolutely, sir. I mean, I agree 100%. We get hammered every single year by hurricanes, and our state representation has been responding the way it should, and we recover quickly. But I'm not defending FEMA.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's been that big of a difference over the years. They literally used to actually respond, and now they're holding people back.
I'm with you, Keith. Thank you. I appreciate the update. Jason, literally 25, 30 seconds, but I want to hear from you. Let's go.
Yeah, California, you're talking about FEMA sending, or the government to send money to the state to pay for damages and disperse it. But look what's going on out in California, where they got all the money and didn't do anything and sent it to all these other places out there and didn't do what they were supposed to do with the money.
Well, that wasn't FEMA money. I hear you, and I appreciate you, but that wasn't FEMA money. And again, California being mismanaged by Sacramento is real. It's the truth. And I 100% hear you. But when there's a time of need where there's a verifiable disaster and that need needs to be filled, I think you've got that stockpile of money for emergencies. You don't have a bureaucratic agency in between, and you send it to where these legitimate disasters are happening, and those people get the help they need.